Sir Thomas Pidcock MBE OBE drops Jonas Vingegaard. Protest disrupting the race. We begin in Bilbao and we're supposed to finish in Bilbao. One of the most exciting stages, I thought, when the route was announced earlier this year, with a medium mountain, typical Basque Country stage with Rampas in Humanas, the Alto de Pike, which is a 5 minute watt per kilo wall test. We had it a few years ago in the Tour de France, but before the stage, there was a meeting between the organizer and it looks like a rider from each of the teams at the race about the protests, which were expected, of course, and how they were intending to be managed. Because we had a rider knocked off his bike yesterday by one of the protests encroaching on the road in the neutral zone. That already happened. Then the protesters were removed, and so then the race continued. But at the finish line, it was expected that there would be mass protests again. In breakaway formation, we saw two things. Pedersen wanted to be in the break for the green jersey points, and Visma were putting a rider in the break for once. Ben Tullett there. Constantly they were trying to filter in when the groups got too big, and it became very clear to everybody that they were controlling for the stage victory. Pedersen went across Labrosse, Glivar. This, Basque Country is beautiful place for summer holiday because it's also lower temperatures normally. But Visma's strategy was when a dangerous rider went across, like a trek or the group got too big, you put a rider with them, they sit on, and then the two Dutch units behind Kelderman and Van Baarle continue riding, do what they do best, riding a steady, hard tempo. So Pedersen gets away, Soler and Aular bridge across. It ends up only being a break of three. Only three riders, only one of which is a great climber. The counter move goes, and that's blocked by Visma with Tullett and Movistar with, I think, Carlos Canal, because they have Aular up the road. They're versatile sprinters. So Pedersen and Aular suffering under the pace of Soler on all these climbs. They're irregular. Visma ride a tempo with Van Baarle and Kelderman. Eventually, Soler just rides away with 80 k's to go. Pedersen realizes he's not making it to the intermediate sprint like this. And so 30-second gap, 80 k's to go, almost too tight. So Visma let it out a bit. You don't want moves going again because there's loads of different launch pads, and that happens. And they just do the same strategy. Vivaca goes with Nicolau and I think Santi. And so Campenaerts just goes in that group, sits on, demoralizes everybody, and then it's easier to control from behind. On the first Vivero, though, it's harder than it looks on the profile. Okay, 4K, 8% average, but there's Rampas, narrow road, Mikel Landa dances away. Santi joins him from behind, and so we've got two very strong climbers in front. The problem is again, Campenaerts does the same tactic when Dunbar jumps. The problem is the valleys, like these fast valleys on a good road surface. It's not the terrain for these two lads, Landa and Santiago Buitrago, to be maintaining a gap against Dylan Van Baarle riding on the front of the peloton. But at the first lap of the finish line, we saw that it was kind of chaos. It didn't appear to be sufficient police presence on the road at this moment, and the protesters tried to, I think there's a video on RTVE's Twitter of like the protesters trying to break through the barriers and enter the course. So Landa gets dropped on the fast highways, and it looks like we're going towards, on the second Vivero, another stage win or an opportunity for Vingegaard to win the stage. But UAE team members have other ideas. Ivo Oliveira comes to the front. They start pacing, presumably for 1 So then Finn Fisher-Black, who's very good on these sort of 8 to 15 minute climbs, is his forte. He did a very good performance on Bejes in 23. But then another protest comes onto the road. You see Pidcock going under the banner rather, and Bernard going around it. Vine looking around. Is my team leader Almeida here? Is everything okay? I don't think any riders were knocked off their bike at that moment. Pellizzari's in the white jersey, of course. Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe, so maybe they just think Hindley's doing well, so they're just going to make the race hard for Hindley, and he was doing well, Hindley. Almeida attacks, though. He attacks on the second last Severo, 26 k's to go. Vingegaard covers it. He's got Tullett covering it as well, his teammate. Pidcock responds pretty comfortably. And then he goes again. Santi, you can't really see Almeida behind him. He's blocked, but Almeida was attacking. Tullett was sort of half-wheeling him. Then Almeida surges again. Vingegaard follows pretty comfortably. And look, it's Hindley. It's Hindley every time, following. And this reminds me a lot of his Giro victory. I'm not saying he'll win, but in his Giro victory, he was always there when you look back in hindsight, but he was still underestimated until the final of the race. Then Campenaerts, you see him talking to Vingegaard. There's a lot of discussions happening. Visma are using Tullet to face the flat, which is very what you wouldn't expect if the stage wind's in play, and it came through. You see the two Frenchmen at the back, Amaury and Paris Pantra, slightly different dimensions, discussing the news from the radio that the race would finish at 3Ks to go. There would be no stage winner because there's no photo finish at 3Ks to go. They would still do the Alto to Pike and race up it. And there would still be bonies on top, I think, because I haven't seen any stage results still at this hour. Jorgensen starts to pace. Almeida's like, what are you guys doing? I guess I'll close it and ride a tempo. Vingegaard goes in the wheel. Are they going to race? Are they not going to race? Because no stage win anymore. Does anyone think it's worth it? Vingegaard's looking pretty passive. He's just looking at everybody like he doesn't... It's not like with the stage win not in play anymore, he just didn't seem as aggressive as one would expect. And then Tom Pidcock launches on the steep section of Alto de Pike, where Victor Lefebvre won or followed Pog and Vingegaard back in the day 2 years ago. And we see the telltale signs. Vingegaard looks back, and that typically happens. Well, that happened in Saint-Hilaire in the Tour de France, and then he gets put on a gap by Tom Pidcock. So one of the biggest moments, I guess, in Pidcock's career, like dropping a rider of Vingegaard's stature in the middle of a Grand Tour in the red jersey, not once, but then when Vingegaard comes back on the shallower section, he hits him again and now puts him on a bigger gap, 8Ks to go. The problem for Pidcock is there's no stage win in play. There are the bonies, I think, on top, but we'll hit 6 seconds, 4 seconds, and 2 seconds. And we see further behind, kind of curious, we don't see how it all comes back together. Almeida being caught by Hindley, Bernal in the middle, then Pellet, Zari, Jorgensen, Ciccone, Felix Gol. But over the top of this climb is a very short 200-meter plateau. And if you've got some gas left in the legs, that's where you can accelerate back to the wheel. And that's what Vingegaard does. He gets back to the wheel of Pidcock actually pretty quickly. And that's what Jorgensen must have done, because when the camera shows on the helicopter view, the group behind, he's suddenly with Hindley and Gol and Almeida, and then Bernal's on the group behind with Ciccone. So those two, Hindley, Gol and Jorgensen, must have sprinted across. Vingegaard and Pidcock relay full gas Vingegaard for the time, but Pidcock, I'm not sure Pidcock knew that the stage had been stopped at 3Ks to go. They go through 3Ks to go. He didn't know. He was still pedaling, and then Vingegaard taps him, and the commissaire's vehicle's telling him to chill out, and he's looking back like, what's going on? So maybe he didn't know. In the end, the riders just roll into the finish, and very strange stage. Pellizzari throws a bit onto the fan. I don't have any results for you, don't have any interviews for you, but tomorrow we have a mountain stage with longer climbs. They do 2 20 to 25 minute climbs and then a sharp descent to the finish. We have the Angliru the day after. Will Visma chase the stage again? Will it be a breakaway? I think it'll be a breakaway. I think Marc Soler, there's no one that can stop him. He's winning tomorrow's stage easily. But I hope you enjoy the recap, and I'll see you with the one tomorrow. Ciao, ciao.